Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kayla and I am the owner of I Could Make That Butt, which is my small business that sells crocheted plushies and other small crocheted items, and I'm so glad you're here. In today's video, we have a market recap from a little over a month ago, plus a yarn haul. So, if that sounds interesting to you, grab your own crocheted project or other hobby project and let's jump in. So I've moved the mic over. We're going to see if that helps. Fun fact about this video, I have already filmed the market recap version of this video, but I got a camera and I thought it was going to be a good camera. Even though it was very cheap on Amazon, I was like, oh no, it will be fine. And I filmed the whole thing, and the audio sucked, and also I looked extremely yellow, like the whole thing. It was like a yellow filter, which I was able to edit in iMovie, but then I looked like oddly pink, and the audio also sucked. So I was like, oh, I figured out how to fix the lighting in post. Now all I need is a microphone, and my microphone that I had been using didn't have the right input. This is a really long story to let you know that I have a different mic now from Amazon. When I just tried that before recording this again, the audio was trash, like literally trash. And I went, well, that's no good. So the camera might be going back. I might keep it for like digital camera, like pictures, but we'll see. So right now, we're still on the trusty iPhone. And unfortunately, this quality is a lot better. However, that's not really why you're here. You're here to hear about this market. Because I've already kind of started to edit this market video, and where I saw that I needed to re-record all of the talking parts of the recap, I did realize that I have a decent amount of Friday night footage and like day of footage for this market, which is pretty good. So I will do little yapping here and let month ago Kayla talk you through everything about this market that she feels like saying. And then I'll meet you back here and we can go over numbers, stories, all the fun things, and then unbox yarn, which is a bonus that didn't happen in the original video. So, woohoo! But all right, previous Kayla, take it away. Hello! It's been a minute since I've done a Friday night before a market vlog, but I still have a bunch of previous footage to edit. I have to still film a few recaps. At this point, if you are seeing this video, that means that you have already seen, hopefully, or go watch them, those market recaps, and those are done. But needless to say, I am going to start vlogging tonight for Friday night. But how these usually go is I try to vlog as much as I remember on the Friday night before a market. Most markets I do are on Saturdays. So we have a market tomorrow, the 17th of May. Now the weather reports have been all over the place. They've been saying since the beginning of this week that there was going to be some sort of rain. This morning they were reporting rain and thunderstorms. And this is a family fest, which is like heavily like outside and really works well outside. This is the first time I've ever done this event, but it's a pretty popular event in the town, as I've been told. So it will be a real bummer if it rains. Now on Apple weather, which we all know is not like the most accurate, but it does the job. When I look through the hours, there's no rain. There's like a 20% chance at 9 a.m. and this doesn't start until 10:30. And like, then it's just cloudy. So I think if it's gonna rain, it will happen later. And this event ends at 3:30. So really what that means is that tomorrow could be like really muggy, which it's been muggy the last couple of days. So it's just more of the same. But I'm really hoping for no rain. They do have an inside plan They haven't responded yet if they're going to pull that trigger. I feel like they're going to really wait until tomorrow morning to decide, which is totally fine. Some vendors like to know ahead of time because just for packing their car purposes, and like if you're going to need a tent or not is really the big thing. But personally for me, I don't mind bringing everything and then just finding out in the moment. I can adjust. But yeah, that's kind of where we are. I currently am working on a crayon, so I'd like to finish this tonight. I need to go through my inventory to see where we are. I didn't do a market last weekend, but I did one the weekend before, and I was coming off 2 in a row. And so I know I have inventory. I didn't like crush either event in terms of like money. So I know I still have stuff. I also need to update the inventory on my spreadsheet. But yeah, that's kind of where we're going to be. And then once I see everything out, I will then figure out what else I want to make tonight. I do need to print a couple of price things out, which is not a big deal. But yeah, all right. And a quick update. It's now almost 6:30. I've eaten food. If this is your first time watching one of my Friday night videos, or the Friday night portion of the video, I generally do order delivery because I'm prepping and I don't really want to cook. So did that, the normal place that I normally go to. I finished this crayon. I used this mint color from the Chenille Basic Brights that I really like, that I put with this Seaside. I think it's really cute. So next, we're pulling out the inventory. So again, this is it has become a little bit of a tradition on my Friday nights, is to literally take out everything that I've made, not just this past week and a half, but also what I have left, so I can lay everything out, update my spreadsheet so that I know what I need to do, update my square if I need to, and then make a plan for the rest of the night. So let's do this. I'm going to try and time lapse. We'll see how it goes. Hold on, before I time lapse, I forgot I never showed you because I didn't do a prepping vlog, but I found the cutest little capybara pattern from Sweet Beans Crochet on Instagram. I'll link it down below. So cute, so easy. This is the Chenille Basic Brights from Premiere that I used, and then I embroidered the eyes and the little nose detail. But oh my goodness, so stinking cute. I think I made 5 of them for tomorrow's market, and honestly I probably would have made more, but I just have so much other stuff to prep too. But I need to show you that, not in time lapse, but I need to show you that not in time lapse mode. So, all right, now time lapse. Okay, I'm gonna pan so you can see the haul, but you know, it was a real bummer when I was taking this stuff out. It's not nearly as much as I thought there was here, so I'm a little bit more stressed. So I don't know if you could tell from the beginning of these clips, when I first started tonight, I truly didn't feel as stressed as I normally do before a market, because I remember having more stuff from after I packed up 2 weeks ago. Apparently, I sold more than I recall, which is good. Like I said at the beginning of the clip, as of the time of filming this right now, I have not filmed either recap of my last 2 markets. It's going to be 3 market recaps behind as of right this second, but I knew I sold stuff at the last market. I knew the last market was my best out of the few that I've done so far this year, but I really, really thought I had more stuff. So let's take stock of what is actually here and what I realistically, not as realistically, want to get done today / tomorrow while I'm at the market. Because now it is 6:30, and I mean I can go to bed whenever I want. I'm an adult, but I probably should go to bed by I'd like to go to bed by 11, just because I also feel like I'm useless after 11 for crochet. And so we have roughly 4.5 hours. And I have to still do inventory. So we're going to update inventory while we go through this. Look at that. Double trouble. Multitasking. That's the word. So if I look down, I am looking at my computer because that is where I update my inventory, because I do it all in a Google Sheet. So let's do this. Now, if this market does move inside, or Family Fest, it's not a market, it's a Family Fest that has vendors, moves inside, then realistically, I don't know what that looks like. I would assume it's down to 1 table, because that's generally what happens when you get moved inside from an outdoor market, because they usually try to squeeze in as many people as they possibly can. That when you have a lot more space outside is a lot easier, which is fair. Honestly, totally fair. But okay, let's look through this. Oh, so I never updated this list. I was in the wrong tab. Classic. So how I do my inventory Google Sheet, and I've truly played around with this kind of stuff for the last 2 years to try and keep track, but I have a running tab that's my current inventory. So what I'll do is, after I update this one, which we'll call it today, right now, I will make a copy of this tab and then put tomorrow's date and market, because I have different tabs of of the markets that I've done. You can't really see this, I'm sorry. And then also, if my stuff's being sold anywhere else, what inventory they have as well. I find that's the easiest. I have all of this also connected, so with formulas and stuff, so that my plushie count will go up, my pricing will go, we'll do it correctly, and then I'll have a running total right here. I do need to add in the capybaras, because I have not added them to my list yet. So I think for right now, I might put them under, because I have different categories. So I think I might put them under characters right now, just because then I don't have to recode everything, which is nice. And then from there, that will just be a little bit easier. I might shift that eventually. After this market tomorrow, I have almost a month until my next one, which is my big one. That's the one that I did some of the best selling at. So I'm definitely going to need to up what I am prepping. We are hardly stressed about the fact that I only have 4 cats. LOL. So that means we need to make at least 2 cats tonight, preferably 1 gray and 1 in some sort of brownish hue, probably. So I need to look at the yarn that I have, or even a whitish hue, whatever. I've been making Google Keep things. So what I was doing is 2 weeks ago, when I was just apparently Delulu, which classic me, I made these lists so that I could prep 50 plushies in like 2 weeks. And I actually came closer than I thought I was going to, which is impressive. And I had taken stock of everything before I did that. But apparently what I didn't do is I didn't put priority to things. And so that's okay. We live and we learn. So we're going to make a new Google Keep note that's going to list us out. That's going to say to do tonight. And then we're going to laugh and laugh because Kayla's going to put way too many things on this list because this happens every time. I think I can crochet faster than I actually can. I'm going to pause this because this clip's going to get a little long and then I'll come back in with numbers, I promise. Okay, so we've updated the numbers and we are just over $1,500. We have, or $6 over to be exact. I do, like at least for the spring markets, I usually do bring around $1,500 worth of inventory, but usually more of that's because of the smaller stuff. So I have some like bigger, I have the dinosaur, I have the fruit cow, I have like a cow and a teddy bear. Those are a little bit more money. And then I do have 7 crayons, and that right there is $140. So those don't always like sell super great. Like they have their days, and that's why I keep making them, but you just don't know. So yeah, little the teensiest bit stressed. But I do feel better that this sheet is now updated. I did make a list of what I would love to make tonight. It's not the craziest list I've ever made. So I'm going to pat myself on the back for that. I also don't think I'm going to be able to do all of it, but maybe. I have 2 cats on there. So like I said, the gray cat and the brown or the white one, depending on the yarn I have. My axolotls, I only have 4. So I really need at least 2 more. So I have a green type and a blue type because that will then at least fill out my rainbow of what I'm missing. I can kind of choose from there of what I have available, but that's kind of the hues of which I want to be in. I'd like to make an eagle. That's definitely lower on the list. But I only have 4 birds, but I sold like 5 birds at the last market. It was crazy. Like I've like had these birds for like a while, and last market they were selling like hotcakes, honestly. So I'd like to make an eagle because I had 2 of those and they both sold in one market. And then the smaller stuff, I really need to make a purple and a green mini pop because these are like my $5 items and I currently only have 6, and that is stressful. And then of the keychains, I'm out of purple in both the whale and the octo. So if I don't get to those, if I like prioritize the mini pops over those, it's fine because I have plenty of keychains. I would like the purple just to like fill out the rainbow, and purple's usually popular. So it's now officially 7. I am now officially stressed, but you know, it's fine. It's fine. It's so chill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack all this stuff up in a way that makes sense. I also have not brought down a single piece of my display inventory or like stuff, but I'm going to pack the car tomorrow. I don't have to be in my car leaving until like 7:20. So if I'm packing my car by 7, that's easy. That's easy. I'm usually at work at 7. So no big deal. So I'll worry about all that tomorrow. I do want to print out a label though, but that's fine. That I'll figure out too. Okay, I'm going to stop yapping because I should be crocheting. So I'll check in a little bit, hopefully. Hello, it is 10 o'clock on the dot, and this might be my last check-in for the night. I'm still going to hopefully make at least one more thing before I go to bed, but I probably, knowing myself, I will probably not check in again. But so far, we have gotten a little bit done. I was fighting with this purple yarn because I ran out of the main color, and so you can't really tell because I'm using my phone and it's not the best quality, but the color does change slightly for this mini pop because that was the next color I had that was close to it. I am realizing while trying to prep some of these that I need to place a Premier Parfait Chunky order because that's the kind of yarn I usually use for like the keychains and these mini pops, and I am very low on to slash have like no more of certain ones. So I think in this next month to prepare for the big market, I need to place an order like this weekend. So this took longer than normal. Then I made another one like this, which was fine. And then I did finish an axolotl. So my plan is to make another axolotl before I go to bed. I should be able to do it. Maybe. And then I'm going to bring yarn tomorrow for the cats and maybe another axolotl and just a bunch of random yarn to make mini pops and just kind of see what I can get done. The weather keeps changing. I keep looking. Now there's more there's like more chance of a rain for certain hours, but it's still like lower than 20. Hang on, I'm going to check right now. Hang on. Yeah, there's potential rain on some of the hours that I'm there, but nothing higher than 20%. And the thing has like it's gonna thunder, but in none of the hourly icons has thunder. So I don't know if it's supposed to thunder tomorrow night, like after I guess 9 p.m., which will be just great to sleep through, but that's fine. But I don't know, so we'll see. But yeah, but I will see you in the morning when hopefully I'm pulling things out to pack up the car with just an overcast sky and no rain. Please, 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 because I would love to do an outdoor market with no rain. I will say that the last market I did, and I'm sure I talked about it in the recap that I've yet to film, but it will be out before this video, that we actually had really good weather. It just started getting like windy like towards like the very end of it, and then rain did eventually come that day. So again, if that's what happens for tomorrow, that's fine. I'm fine with that, but we'll see. All right. I will check in again tomorrow for the market. Yay! Good morning and happy market day. It is currently a little after 6:50 in the morning and we're up and ready. I have to still pack the car. This is my outfit for today. Hang on. So my outfit for today is this just regular t-shirt, and then I'm wearing jorts today, my longer Bermuda shorts, because if you can't also tell because my hair is already up, it is extremely humid today. But it is only cloudy, and I checked the weather again this morning because I just keep checking it like a crazy person, and the rain has moved like of when it's expected. Still low percentages of it. It's just supposed to be cloudy all day, which is fine. And then I think it's just going to be this humid all day because it wants to rain. So I do hope that post the market we do get some rain, because yeah, it's like that uncomfortable kind of mugginess. So I'm wearing a more summer forward outfit, But I'm also bringing a sweatshirt because in the off chance that I'm outside and getting cold for whatever reason, maybe the humidity breaks, then I can either use that as a blanket or actually as a sweatshirt. And then I also figured if for some reason they move us inside just for safety kind of a thing, and if they like blast the AC in there, I can use it as a sweatshirt. I mean, it's a school. I've worked in a lot of schools. The ACs are usually not like the greatest if it's not like a brand new school, so I think I'm gonna be fine in this. But I did hem and haw a little bit this morning about it. But anyway, not important enough to talk for 2 minutes about. Anywho, so I have to pack up the car. I'm gonna do that, and then I already packed my yarn bag. You can kind of see the top of a Michael's bag. Filled that with yarn, have my travel polyfill in there, because I did find this morning, I was looking through a box of yarn and I did find a little bit of a parfait chunky like lavenderish color. So I really want to use that for making a popping mushroom when I get there, and possibly keychains too, because that's the color I was looking for. So that's hopefully going to happen. I also brought stuff for cats. I did not end up making another axolotl last night after the last check-in. I was kind of like, I finished that clip and I was like, do I want to start something else? So that's fine. It's on me. I have stuff to make another, or actually a couple more. So who knows? I could just be crocheting this whole 5 hours. But yeah, I don't know. This is supposed to be a really big event. This is the first time they brought this event back since COVID. So the last time they did this event was in 2019. But apparently back then, this was like a really big deal. And I do find that like towns, like big, like family type events do bring out a lot of people. I was just at one 2 weeks ago for a different town, and it was pretty popular. And then I know like the one in my town's really popular. I'm planning on doing it this year. And then the one I do, the like big one that I do in September is a family like event. So like usually family events I tend to do better at. This booth fee was $50 for today. So our first goal is always to make that back as bare minimum. The weather, I still think families will come out. I've really been doing not great with weather for these things, but I do think families will still come out, especially if it's not actually raining, which it's not right now, and it's not supposed to. So we're going to put out a goal of $500. We're going to put out the goal of 10 times the booth fee, and we'll see. We'll see. Who knows? But I would be happy with making the booth fee back. But I would like to make a little bit more. But I still think it's going to be a good day. I think it's going to be a good event. This is from 10:30 to 3:30 today. Setup starts at 8. I realistically don't need to be there right at 8. I'm going to shoot to be there between like 8:15, 8:30. Because that still is like 2 hours to set up, which is plenty of time. I am going to bring, right now it does not look windy at all, but I still might bring like 2 of the water jugs that I have in addition to my weights, just in case if we're getting closer to like a rainier time. Usually the wind does pick up, so I want to have those to anchor down too, just in case. And I hope that because I'm bringing them, I won't need them. Kind of like bringing an umbrella. So yeah, that's where we are. I'm going to stop talking because I have to go load the car. But I will see you in a bit. Alright, update. All the garage stuff is in. So now I'm gonna go get the other stuff from inside the house. It's now 7:10, I think. It is cooler out than I previously thought. My house is very humid. But I still think this is a good outfit choice because honestly, I have the sweatshirt. I'm not by any means freezing right now. It is just cooler. I did also just haul a bunch of stuff into my car, but I still don't think, and honestly, I think it would be silly to go back into jeans because I do think I will eventually regret that. And honestly, my legs don't tend to get super cold. It might be because I had to spend my middle school years in a skirt for a uniform, and I was stubborn and refused to ever wear tights, even despite the Connecticut winters, and we'd be outside. So I think I built stamina from that. So there you go. But yeah, no, I'm not usually cold, like for my legs. My arms will get cold, so I have a sweatshirt. But honestly, if this is our starting temperature, then it's only going to go up from here. So I do think this is the right outfit. But let's go and pack up the other stuff. Oh, look at that light change. The car is packed. It's 7:20, so that took about 20 minutes, which feels about right. I'm also taking this video so I can pay attention to how I packed this up because it actually worked for the most part. So I'd love to replicate this when I'm packing up later. And yeah, so I don't have to leave yet. Probably in like 10 to 15 minutes because I'll go through Dunkin' and then it's about a half hour away. So yeah, so I don't have to leave quite yet, but we're getting close. We're getting close. But yeah, market day. Okay, it's about 7:45 and we're in the car. I'm staying Delulu right now with the fact that it is slightly sprinkling. I literally told myself, oh, it's just the trees. And then I went through my driveway through an uncovered part and I still felt rain and I was like, nah, it's fine. I mean, to be honest, I'm looking at a tree right now. That's why I'm looking this way. And usually, like, if it's gonna like rain, like the leaves, fun science fact, go from being kind of flat or hanging down to literally that you can see that they're going upwards. Like their ends like kind of curve. Fun fact for you, I taught elementary science for a little bit. It's because the trees know that water's coming or something. I don't fully, I taught it better, I promise. But the leaves right now look normal. So I still don't think it's going to be like that rainy. I think it's just going to be cloudy, honestly. But I also opened my window slightly because when I got in, I heard the zzz sound of a bug and I was like, that needs to leave. So we're going to get going and I will see you there. I'll see what I can get for setup in terms of videos. We'll see. I still don't have a tripod, so crushing it. Wow, what a market. So, as I think I said in those clips, pretty sure, this was a family fest at an elementary school. We, like many other people in the New England area, have been experiencing rain on most Saturdays. And that was no exception for that particular weekend. However, most of the day was beautiful, which was great. But then it did downpour from like 11:30 to 12. And I got zero footage of that, but it was a downpour. I had lowered my tent a little bit just to keep the rain out. I had purposely set this up in a tighter L, which is what I've been doing for a lot of the spring markets with just 2 tables, because if it rains, I don't want the rain to hit the plushies. So I was kind of prepared for it. My plushies were fine. And then the rain cleared and people still came back. So that was great. But anyway, before we go into the recap, I do want to say I am trying out this mic. If this mic ends up giving me more issues, then we'll go micless. But I listened back to a couple of the clips and they sound okay. So I'm hoping that when I transfer that to iMovie, it still sounds okay. But this market, I don't know. I think I said in the clips the day, it took me about a half hour to get there. So I've said this before if you've watched other videos of mine. I more often in the springtime will travel a little bit more, like that 30 to 40-minute range, like around my town, because a lot of my fall and holiday stuff is very local. So I kind of do like to just try out the different vibes of the other towns. So this was one of those. It wasn't too bad of a drive. But yeah. So we're going to go into numbers. I have some items pulled. I do still need to record a recap for my June market. That spoiler I did like pretty well at. So I've been in the process of remaking to re-market prep for everything I have coming up for the rest of this year. So I have some items that I can show that represent the items that sold for this market, but it won't necessarily be everything or exactly accurate to what sold. But yes, so we're going to jump into that. Okay, so let's jump into the numbers. If I look in this direction, it is because this is where my spreadsheet lives, that has all the numbers of what sold. If I look in this direction, it is because it's where my plushies live that I am currently pulling from. So, just in case my eyes wander at all, because they won't. All right, so this market was 10:30 to 3, I believe I said. So that was about 4.5 hours. And the first thing that sold was crazy. It was the strawberry version of this cow. So this is the blueberry version that I've prepped so far. But imagine strawberries, reds, pinks. Ooh. If you've seen a previous video, you might have seen that one before. Also, in that market clip, in the setup, she, they, the cow was there. So, this was a shock of a first purchase because I'd had that strawberry cow for at least 2 markets, I want to say, before bringing it to this one. And it just hadn't sold, but it was fine because it was another kind of item that brought people in, like my dinosaur. So there was a Girl Scout troop, particularly a cadet Girl Scout troop. And for those who might not be familiar with Girl Scouts, that's about 11 or 12 years old. And that is like the perfect age for my booth because those girls usually have started babysitting, so they have their own money and they get to decide what they spend it on. And they still are at age where they love plushies. So like, it's just a perfect storm. So these 2 girls came beelining for my tent, and one of them looked at the cow and said, "I would like that." And I said, okay, it's $40. And she said, not a problem, and pulled out her money, and that was that. So also crazy that that was the first purchase of the day, but a very exciting first purchase, especially for this booth fee being $50 for literally like right off the bat to make a sale that was just $10 off from that booth fee. We love to see it. So then after that, sales were kind of at random, but I will go through the totals, and if I group things together, it's just because that's how many of them sold. The next thing were tank turtles. I sold 4 of them. I'll put a picture of them right here because I currently am sold out of mine and I have not started the re-prepping stage. But if you've been here before, this is a Mel's Crochet Creations pattern on Etsy. I will link all these patterns down below. The cow is a 12-in-1 pack, also from Etsy by the Stitch Studio CA. So that is where I got the cow pattern. But the tank turtle pattern, super easy make. I sell them for $8 a piece. I make mine baby safe because I embroider the eyes, and they are just still kind of really popular. I make them in all sorts of different colors. The next thing, I sold 2 pop mushies. So these, if you've been around my channel for a while, you will have seen these many a times. This is the, a Sammy and Spore pattern by Cable and Canvas. This is a paid pattern on Etsy. It's a Sammy Spore pattern, not an and. It's Cable and Canvas. There you go. And I usually, when I bring these and the mini versions to market, I keep them semi close to where I'm standing, so I can always just kind of grab it and be like, oh, and these, they pop, so they're like a silent fidget. Feel free to try. And that usually gets a lot of people picking them up and trying that because I usually often will say, oh, you know how other fidgets can be so noisy. So that's usually how people end up buying them. Also, it's just fun to do. I mean, I usually also will stand there with a mini one and just fidget with it while people are shopping. But I sell these for $12 each. Then, I sold 1 orange crayon. I'll put a picture there of a crayon. This crayon pattern is a paid one off of Etsy from Not Monster. It's in the back to school bundle. I have made out of this bundle the markers, pencils, and crayons, but I consistently have crayons at my booth, and I am pretty much always told at least once at a market, oh, I've never seen the crayons before. So that's why I do keep bringing them back. I also do like making them, and they do sell. Some markets I'll sell none, some markets I'll sell 4. It's always wild in between. Regardless, I sell them for $20 each, and the orange one happened to sell at this market. Next are birds. I sold 2 of them. And this, I have to cut this end, is what I'm realizing. This is a paid pattern from Annie Caraway Art on Etsy. Same creator that we will see soon again with something else, but she has made this like 20-in-1 bird pack. And so you just basically change the coloring, and like some birds have the cowl on top, some don't, and the beak direction, and you get all these different birds. I'm not gonna lie, I don't fully remember which 2 did sell, but this happens to be a cardinal. I also make seagulls, eagles, which look similar to this, except it's a brown bottom. I make mallards and flamingos, and I'm trying to think, is there something else? Oh, and I want to do this also. She has a chicken version of this. I also want to do that. I think I also have an owl, but I sell these for $15 each, and they've been doing pretty well this spring, and they're super easy. It's all one piece. If you have to add the cowl, you just surface crochet that on, but everything else is all one piece. The wings are a part of it. The tail's a part of it. So I really recommend this pattern. Then I sold a bluey. I'll put a picture here. Um, Generally, if I have a bluey, I do not leave with her. She usually does sell. I sell my blueys for $20 a piece. It is a paid pattern on Etsy. It's the like your favorite blue healer pattern, I think it's called. And it's by, oh no, it's just called Healer. My bad. It's the Healer pattern by Lumi L Art. Sorry. On my computer, I also happen to have those open as well. So my computer is just really helpful right now. Then I sold one of the teddy bears. I think I only had one at this market. And so this is the one that did sell, or this version. This is a pattern from a free blog that I will link below that I found off of Pinterest. You do have to pre-crochet the arms, the legs, but those then get crocheted into the body, and then you have to separately do the head and the ears and the muzzle, and those all get sewed on. So it does take a little bit of time. I charged $25 for these because it's still, I mean, it's not a quick make. Like I'm not like batch making these necessarily, but I can make them within a couple of hours, and then I embroider the face to make it fully baby safe. So, and I like it. It's a good size. I think they're really cute. So I have them in a couple of different colors now. Right this second, I've prepped a brown and a pink. I'm planning to prep a blue. Do I have a yellow? I think I have a yellow on my list. And then like a purple. So yeah, those are good. And like I said, $25 each. Then I sold one loaf cat. This is the other pattern I have by Annie Caraway Art, also on Etsy. And this is the popular pattern. I know there's a bunch of different versions now, but I still use hers because I just find it easy to kind of go through. And at this point, I basically have it memorized. Um, Cats at this one, I think I said it in the clip of at the market. I didn't have that many, and they were kind of like the weirder colors, so only selling one does make sense, but I sell these for $20 each. Then I sold 5 of the mini pops, so the mini version of these. That's a free pattern on YouTube that is also by Cable and Canvas. And it's super, super quick to whip up. I sell them for $5 each. Like I said, I usually have one with me at the table to fidget with, and it is, besides the scrunchies, the cheapest thing on my table right now. So those do usually do pretty well. I, at this particular market, didn't have as many as I normally do, but I only ended up selling 5 of them. I then sold both a rainbow bee and a regular bee. Both of these are the same pattern. I just change the way I color change to get the rainbow. This one that I prepped recently, I realized I was using the lighter pink that I have, which is why we have a yarn haul. That's what started this, because I needed my better pink. But it's okay. But this is a free pattern by Crochet by Jenna. It's on her YouTube channel. And it's really, really quick to make up, even with the color changing. And then you do you do the wings separately, and then you sew them on. So I really like this pattern. Bees still do pretty well for me. I know they were like really trendy for the last couple of years, but they still do sell. So I sold one of each, and I sell them for $12. I sold an axolotl. I'll put that there. That is a paid pattern, also by Crochet by Jenna. If you've been around my channel for a while, you will not be surprised by an axolotl sale. What was surprising was I only had 4 of them, so it made sense that only one sold, but usually I do have more because generally I do sell out, which, spoiler, is why I don't have one to show you today, is because at my other market I did sell out. So, but that's a spoiler for the next video. But yeah, so but yeah, if you've been around, you've seen them. But I still do really like that pattern. Then I sold 2 Octo keychains. This is a YouTube tutorial from, I always forget her name. It's something Bubbles, False Bubbles or something. I'll link it down below. But I used to sell just the Octos and the whales. None of my whales sold at this market for $5, but I put them on a keychain and I now sell them for $6 because I was noticing that people wanted more of a reason to buy crocheted items and to give them a use of that this can be on a backpack or keys or something. They were doing better. So I just got a pack of keychains from Amazon and transferred everything over. But I sold 2 of them for $6 each. I then sold a scrunchie. I don't have any to show, but it's just a regular scrunchie that's crocheted that I use the YouTube tutorial from Passionate Kelsey for, but it's a pretty run-of-the-mill kind of scrunchie pattern, but it was actually really funny. It was after the rainstorm. The sun came out like with a vengeance, and it did get kind of warm, and one of the parent volunteers that was like at the tent across from me, like I could tell she was starting to get warm and her hair was down, and she kind of just like glanced around and she saw on my tree like the scrunchies, and she came like running over and she was like, "How much are your scrunchies?" And I was like, $4. And she was like, "Perfect." And like she like threw like $5 at me and like just like immediately put her hair up, and I was like, okay. So that worked out, but that was the only one that sold. And like I said, I sold them for $4 each. And then I sold 3 of the capybaras. I will put a picture here, but I know that you also saw them in the market prepping or the Friday night clips that I had. I had brought 5 and I sold 3, and I sell them for $10 each. It is an Instagram pattern by Sweet Beans Crochet. I'll link everything down below. But super, super, super easy to make. I embroidered the eyes, as you saw. I really, really like making these, and I sell them for $10 each. So that is everything that sold, but let's do real numbers. So altogether, I sold 27 items, and that was for a grand total of $318. Woo! So not terrible. It was a $50 booth fee, so taking that out, it was then $268. I didn't do that much with card. It was a mostly cash transactional day, so I'm not going to count the square fees. I generally don't count the square fees, and if they're like less than $5, which I know is not the right thing to do for business, but it's just what happens. But and if you've been around for a while, I really only report on the like main taken minus the booth fee on most days. So yeah, so that was $268. So let's talk about it. Will I do this market again? I still think I like the audio with the microphone. We're gonna keep seeing. I keep testing. Okay, for this market, will I do it again? Probably. It was an okay day. 4.5 hours isn't terrible. The setup breakdown process was pretty standard. They had students from what I assume to be the high school come and help for service hours, which was helpful. But yeah, I mean, a couple of weird stories from the day that we can go over, but overall, it was a pretty normal market, but in terms of number of crocheters, I was one of 4. And there were probably, I would say maybe like 40 vendors. What is that? For a 40, a tenth of us were, 10% were crocheters. So not terrible. There was a crocheter that was like diagonally behind me. She was the closest one. The other crochet person, she sold other like craft items also. So it wasn't just crochet. And then by the gate where they thought people were going to enter was the other crocheter. So they definitely had in their minds that people were going to come over from the parking lot and go through that gate and immediately go through all of the vendors and then go out to like the DJ, and there were food trucks and stuff on the blacktop. And what ended up happening was the opposite. People heard the music, so they went towards that first to the blacktop and then turned and came towards the vendors. Another thing that happened, that because of the potential rain, some people did cancel. I think there were supposed to be more vendors there. And what ended up happening is because they canceled, there were gaps in the layout. It was supposed to be just an outside perimeter of like rectangle of vendors and then an inside perimeter of vendors facing out. So you basically were forced to go around, and then if you wanted to come back around again to see the inside, you could, but that was kind of how they envisioned the traffic going, which makes sense. Because people weren't there, it caused gaps, so it caused like aisleways that they weren't necessarily expecting. And so the person that was supposed to be directly to my left and the person behind them didn't show, so there was a aisle right next to me. Also, how I was facing out, I was like, I could see like the blacktop very well. And so people, when they were coming, would see me first and like beeline to me to start. So which is a good position to be in. It's also one where you hear a lot of, okay, this is our first booth. Let's see what else there is. So, which is totally fine. But yeah, so that it kind of like skewed their layout a little bit. And I felt a little bad for the other crocheter who was definitely pumped about her position of being like the first one next to the gate. And then like nobody used that gate to come in. So then what ended up happening was she was actually a little bit out like on like an outlier that people had to like purposely go to, which they did because her stuff was cute. But it took a little bit more effort to get people to her than if people just started right there. But that's nothing really the coordinators could do. People were canceling like right up to the morning of, and to rearrange maps multiple times is just a pain. So it all worked. We all had spots. It was fine. Another strange thing that happened was they had pretty good communication throughout this whole thing. It was the PTO that ran it. There were emails. We got the map ahead of time. We had really clear setup and breakdown instructions, which I always do appreciate getting. And they did say probably like 2 days before, because rain was in the forecast, they said that if they had to move it inside, they would let us know basically Friday night, because they'd have to make the decision then, and that they would like very explicitly say it was inside. And I could tell from the tone of the email, and also from just helping with other events, I could just tell that that was like not what anyone wanted. That was a last case scenario, because to move everything inside is just a pain, because at least a lot of elementary schools in my area, I don't know if this is like a national, like a nationwide thing, um, a lot of elementary school layouts are very confusing. There's a lot of like offshoot like hallways. A lot of them kind of are like one level. And so like I know in my town there's a couple of them that are purposely all one level, and so they like shoot the hallways like shoot off in different ways to create like then pods, and it's a lot of twists and turns that to then have to put vendors in those spaces. First of all, you're going to lose space. You're going to go down to just one table, which I know I said in the prep clips, was that I was prepared to go down to one table if needed. But then like you also have to assume that 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 um that shoppers are going to know how you want the traffic to flow in a space that's not just an open field. And that's harder, especially because there was a DJ at this event, and they had said basically the DJ would be in the gym and like take over that, and they weren't necessarily going to put vendors in the gym. So like that's another like bigger space where it's like easier to control traffic flow that now you're losing, and you're going to have to use hallways. So I could tell that they like just did not want that to happen. And so they didn't. They ended up keeping it outside. And again, besides that like downpour that happened for like 20 minutes, the day was really nice. So they made the right call. But there were two sisters that were each vendors. One had like a business where she did like those beaded like body like necklaces that like kind of go around like your stomach, and like like you can wear them to like the beach and stuff. And then the other sister did just like kind of regular jewelry, like more like traditional beaded jewelry. And they each had their own spot, and they were both very close to me, but not next to each other, which I don't know. I assume they could have probably requested to be next to each other. I don't really know. But the body jewelry lady was right next to me on the right. Like I said, the person for the left didn't show up. So then the next person was her sister. So by the time they got there, I was already like pretty set up, or else I would have probably offered to swap spots so that they could be next to each other. But I was pretty set up, so that would have been a pain. So, and they were fine, but they both very much thought that we were going to be inside. So they didn't bring a tent. And they had only brought a table each and like a little bit of inventory. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, yeah, no, they said they were going to email to like specifically say if we were like inside. And she's like, yeah, I don't know. What we apparently like misread. And it was like, okay. She goes, so hopefully it's not going to rain. And I said, yes, hopefully, but like you can certainly like come under my tent if it does, kind of a thing. So, the day was fine. The rain started. She and her sister both had stuff to cover their stuff, luckily. And then she came under my tent. The sister went under actually the other crocheter's tent that was behind her. And we waited out the storm. And then they both were very worried that another storm was going to happen. So they both packed up at noon and left like 3 hours early, which was a surprise. um, Especially because I was like, no, I think we're good. Like, I think we're now like in the clear, like and everything. And they were just like, no, 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 we're not going to chance it. We're leaving. So that was interesting. And then that really like opened up the side that I was on, because now two vendors were missing, or three vendors were missing. So then traffic just kind of went everywhere. But it still worked out. People still were able to see everyone. But it was a little strange. Yeah, but those are really the stories I have from this one. I think providing the date works, I would do this one again. I will say I didn't do one on Mother's Day weekend this year because my cousin was getting married on that Saturday. And that would have been the day I would have done a market. So that's why I had done this one, because it was on the 17th. It was the week after. And traditionally, I try to do one on Mother's Day weekend. So that would be the only reason I wouldn't do this one again, is if there was a better Mother's Day market I could do, I would do that. But I have not ruled this one out. The people were really nice. It was a good day, all in all. So yeah, but that is the market recap. Let's open some yarn. Alright, as I hold these scissors very dangerously, I obviously ordered from Premier. I was low on some colors. I use the basic chenille brights a lot for a lot of my plushies, and so I needed some of that. I also needed some Parfait Chunky, because while I don't have a ton of that in my collection, I do use it for, particularly for the mini pops, like their tops, and I've used it for the Octo and whale keychains. So we need a couple colors for that. I'm going to do my best to cover my address. But let's open it. I also low-key kind of forgot exactly what I ordered. I know I have the pink that I wanted. And other than that, it's all kind of a blur. Okay. All right. Ooh, I do love Premier yarn. All right. It's coming back to me. What I ordered. I'm going to place this here. Okie dokie. First things first, I did get 2 of the, it's bubblegum, right? Yep. The bubblegum Premier Basic Chenille Brights. Oh, and they feel good too. We love that. I really do like this color. It's a really, really nice pink. It's like bright without being hot pink. And I use this for a lot of things. This is a really popular color in my collection, which is why I needed more of it. I was silly and completely missed the Chenille Bright sale that they had a little bit ago. So, unfortunately, I did not get these on sale. I also got 2, I think it's just 2, of the sand. I use this for capybaras. I use this for sometimes for teddy bears, birds. I will use these for, so it's a good neutral color. It's very sandy. That's why it's called sand. But yeah, so I got 2 of those. Not as exciting. I did get one to replace the multi that I already have of this, because I'm already almost out of this kind. This is the color Spring. This is their new chenille multi kind, and I really like the colors together. These make good turtle shells, axolotl gills. I also have, because I happen to have my prep stuff right here, I have been making dragons, you guys. So this is the Nyx the Dragon pattern on Etsy by the Celestial Homebody. And I saw that she used the multi to make dragons, and I was like, I want to do that too, and it came out so cute. Oh my god. So these are a new make in that are coming to markets soon. But yes, so because I've made this guy, I need more of this, because I've also been using this color for other things too. That used a good chunk of it. So we got another one. I also got another red. This is the color Poppy, because I'm running low on the one that I have. This I use for a lot of different accents, for mushroom tops, for Winnie the Pooh shirt. Particularly is this color red that I use. And there's something else that I knew I had to get it for. Oh, birds, for cardinals. I use that red. I then also got my favorite yellow from them, which is lemon. I use this for bees. I use this for Winnie the Pooh. but I use this color a lot. I got a different brown. I got the rust color brown. I will use this also for capybaras. They were out of, I think it's the caramel color. It's like the really, really good brown. But they are always out of that one. I still have one skein of it, which is good. Then I did get another kiwi one. Oh, good. This one feels so much better. The last time I ordered from Premier, I gotten two of these because I use this color a lot too, and it was a real bad feel. It just happened to be the lot make. It was just not great. So this one feels a lot better, which is great because I feel like I've been using lime green less because I just haven't been wanting to use it because of how it feels. But I will. I'll use up that one. I then also got the light blue. Oh, it's literally called light blue. Nailed it. Um, also from that, just because I needed more of it. No exciting explanation. I got two emeralds because I use these for mallard heads, and I am completely out of emerald, and I need to make a lot more mallards. I also will use the rust color with that for ducks, so that also works. Oh, that's the other reason I got that yellow. I also found on Instagram, wow, this is also what I made so far for prepping. Where is it? There. I'll take you out. From this is an Instagram pattern from Amateur Hour that I will also link down below. Look at all this linking I get to do. Of these little ducks. They're so cute. And so I wanted more fun colors for them. So that's also what some of these yarns will be used for. I love them. I love them so much. Okay, anyway. I also found this purple. This was newer to me. It's Dusty Lilac. I don't know if it's actually new to Premiere or if I just have never seen it on the site because I'm blind. But I liked it. It's pretty. And I have like some purples. Um like I use this is actually Bernat baby blanket is that purple because I like that purple the best. But I think this would be pretty for like accents for stuff. So yeah, I got that. All right. Before we get into the chunky, I also got a couple more of the multis. I had this one already, but this is anemone is the coloring. And then I have this one also, and it's something tropical, right? Oh no, no, it's called hummingbird. Nothing tropical about it. So just like with the other one, I was running low. So I liked this color, so I wanted to replenish. And then I also saw in that same family, this one which is new to me, which is so pretty, and it's called Pink Lemonade, and it's just so, so pretty. So I'm excited to use this too. I'll probably possibly make a dragon from it, probably make a duck from it. Gosh, the possibilities are endless. A mushroom top. Wow, what fun times. And then for Premiere Chunky, I got the bubblegum color, but just in this kind. Well, I guess this is the same thickness. Huh. I got Sunshine. Um, I was gonna say this is the same thickness as I was just at Michael's today. Because I have a small addiction. No, I was actually particularly looking for my pickle yarn, and they didn't have it. I got a slightly different color, but I don't know if I like it, so I'm not gonna show it. But it's from Sweet Snuggles, the regular version. But I saw the new Posh Pearl that I know is like supposed to be one of the Joann's takeovers, and when I saw it, it's like this size, and it feels more. It doesn't exactly feel like a Bernat, but it feels more like a Bernat than Parfait Chunky does, if that makes sense. It's like a little bit like this is like super soft. It's a little less soft. And I didn't end up getting any because I was like, oh, that's so small. And I was like, maybe I can make mushroom tops off of it, which is exactly what I use this stuff for. Um, but I ended up not getting any, which is fine because I just got all of this stuff. So, but I have to apologize to my brain because I was like, this is so thin. I will never use yarn that thin. And I'm literally pulling out of a box yarn that thin. So, I got this color, which is key lime. Yep. And this one, oh, this one feels nice, which is light blue. And then lastly, this purple, which is lilac. And that is the haul. So, a decent amount of yarn. On Premiere, if you are US based, if you hit $75, it is free shipping. And as I always say, I'd rather buy, if I have to spend that much anyway, I'd rather get more yarn for it than pay for shipping. So, and I'm not going to lie, this was definitely a little bit over 75. But I still think around 100. Actually, I think it was under 100. Wow, good for me. But yeah, that's my yarn haul. And that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. I so appreciate it. I appreciate however much you watched, but I certainly appreciate it if you make it to the end. If anything that I showed today, you were like, oh my gosh, so cute, I need it, I might sell it on my website, which is www.icould-make-that-but.com. I sell some of my plushies online there. That will also be linked in the description box below. If you want to see more behind the scenes type things, you can go to either Instagram or TikTok, both at I Could Make That But, to see some things. I as always trying to get better at social media. One day we will hit that goal and it will be great. Speaking of goals, I am planning on making my check-in video my 6-month check-in video to the goals video that I made back in January. If you hadn't seen that one, I'll link that below too. But to see where we are on the pathway. And speaking of one of those goals, wow, these segues, just a 10 out of 10. One of my goals for 2025 was to hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel. We are over 500, which is crazy, and I am so appreciative of each and every one of you. But if you'd like to help me towards that goal and you liked this video, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button and also liking the video while we're at it so that more people can find me in this wonderful crochet community. If you have any questions about anything that I went over in this video, feel free to leave that in the comments below. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!